In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to set up a product type, set up a button, and link that button to a product so that you can start putting items into your POS. To start with, we're going to move over to the billiard side, the layout side. Go to the setups, go to rates and setups. And then from here, we're going to hit the third tab down, which is called Edit Choices. Now here, there's a lot of information that gets put in. Petty cash, job titles, extras that you might sell at pool, waiting list for your sending text, void reasons, spillage reasons, all these reasons, discounts and comps, of course. But the real reason we're here today is the product types. So we're going to click on that, and you're going to see a brief overview of what we get our reporting on. This is not exactly what we might sell in the category wise, but it's how we report. So we might have 3 categories that we sell everything in, but have all these numerous particular product types that we want reporting on at the end of the day. So here we're going to go out. Actually, let us add one more so that you can see it. And we're going to say that this is, why don't we say test product. Okay, then we're going to click Save. And from here, we're going to go back over to the POS side and back to the Managers menu, Setups, and Buttons. And as a brief reminder, buttons are what sell a product, and a product is what keeps inventory, so to speak. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new beer here today and link it to a product so that we can have some inventory control on it. Now you'll see that there's some subcategories up across the tops with red X's. That means there's no subcategories in our beers. You'll see some of the categories on the left hand side. The beer is highlighted red. That's why the check marks and all the blue icons or buttons on the right hand side are showing up are beers. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to click New, and that's going to bring up our new button. So we skip the product ID. We'll fill that in the system. But for here, we're going to add a beer, and we're going to call it Strawgator. And I'm going to leave my caps on because I like everything. I'm just highlighting Strawgator, hitting Control A and then Control C. Then I'm going to hit Control V and fill in the button text. From here, I do the button color, which is that teal blue. And if you remember, all of our products that we just put in there, there's some test products down here that we just added, but we're going to put this under beer. We're not really needing anything else. We're going to keep the button price. This MAN stands for manual input. We're not going to be doing that. This right here is modifiers, which we will not be doing any modifiers for beer. And modifiers would be something like a mixer that would be added to a drink. So you might press vodka and then say the modifier set might have Coke, orange juice, whatnot. And since it's a bottle of beer, we don't use that. If you do want to put a picture in, you do so by clicking this button right here, and it would simply bring in your picture that you might have saved for the item. We're going to go ahead and put the standard price in here, and this is going to be a $3.75 beer. It's going to exclude tax, so that means it's going to add tax on top of it. And then we're going to click the tax 1 field because we really only have one field that we use for tax in this system. But you can by all means use tax 1, 2, and 3 if you have a state, local, or federal. Like Puerto Rico actually has 3 taxes, and that's well within our limits there. So the next thing that we do is we come down and we see this link product. Now this is what we do to keep the inventory going. So you'll see that it's asking for a barcode. If you do have a barcode, you can always scan it in. But if not, just hit create product, and this down on the bottom where the highlighted button number 1 is, this is interesting because basically what it's saying is every time one button is pushed, one item comes out of inventory. And what we're going to do is create a link between this button and that product that we're creating. So we hit create product, and you see our relationship here is 1-on-1. So now every time somebody buys a straw gator, one of those will come out of inventory. I'm going to press save, and I believe I have straw gator right there up top. You can see it here. Now it is alphabetized in your settings, so I would probably need to close the program and then reopen it to let the buttons reload and be alphabetized, but I'm going to let it there for right now. I might go back just to see if I can change this, because the rest of the buttons are not capitalized on this system, and I'm going to press save. Okay, so at this point here, we have to go in to save the layout. And this is something that I think that you should really get in the habit of doing. And the reason being is if you get into it and you make a lot of changes on buttons, on their positions and what's showing up and what's not, and you forget to save, you're going to have to go back and do that all over. But as you see, that we have quite a bit of layouts on here that we can go to. These might be because you have events and you run a short menu. They might be seasonal, where there's only certain times of the year that you get produce or something that might be up for sale, like crawfish is a very common one. But for this one, I'm going to rename it, and we're just going to call this March 20. And I'm going to press save. And from this point here, I'm going to go back and exit the design mode. And when we come out front, we're going to start a tab to check out our new button. I'm not going to give it a name, but there it is right there in the upper left hand corner, Straw Gator. And it is coming in at $375 plus the tax. I'm going to add it to the tab. And I'm going to go ahead and check him out. And there you have it. That's how you add a product type, a button, and link that button to inventory by linking it to a product.